I've got to talk now not about strangers, but about stupidity, and specifically the uh, theatrical, economically illiterate, politically reactive nonsense which is masquerading as immigration policy in the latest white paper from Downing Street. To call it Reform UK Lite would be generous. It is, in fact, a headlong capitulation to the worst instincts of that party. And it's a there's an element of madness about it, with a gloss of bureaucratic responsibility that makes the poison harder to detect. The Financial Times, hardly a radical organ, is explicit. This is nonsense. We cannot afford. And at the heart of the policy is a premise so faulty that it brings that it belongs not in the annals of public administration but in the archives of magical thinking, namely that by throttling immigration, especially so-called low-skilled migration, we will somehow summon into existence a British workforce ready, trained and willing to fill the resulting void. This is fantasy economics. And we have to be specific. The closure of the care visa route is perhaps the most egregious element. It's being done on the premise that British workers, once pay and conditions are improved, will miraculously step into the breach. Now, I don't dispute for a moment that the care sector is a Dickensian patchwork of underpayment and exploitation, but we're not improving it. We're closing the very operational tap of labour into a sector already in crisis. The care sector, let's remind ourselves, is not a luxury, it's a structural pillar of the NHS. Elderly patients stuck in hospital because there's no care home place available. That is why beds are blocked. That's why surgery is delayed, a GP visit deferred. And into this system, we're now injecting even more uncertainty and even fewer workers. And yet the Prime Minister has the gall to warn us that we're becoming an island of strangers. Permit me a moment of philological dissent. The phrase is both odious and absurd. Britain is not becoming an island of strangers, it's becoming a country estranged from reality. Starmer himself, in case we forget, once championed migration as essential to the economy and the public good. In 2020, as recently as that, he warned against scapegoating migrants for low pay and falling services, accurately identifying the culprit as failed economic management. And now, in a grotesque reversal worthy of Orwell, we're told that migrants cause incalculable damage. No data, no cost, no rationale, just vibes, and just just a response to the rhetoric of reform. So many R's there. The figures are sobering. The reforms are predicted to reduce net migration by just under 100,000 annually, largely through the care route and the shorter post-study work offer. But what we are losing is not numbers but capacity to staff hospitals, care homes and laboratories. And even the supposed high-talent fast-track routes are a sop, a drop of logic and a flood of foolishness. And consider the contradiction. This is a government that tells us rightly that the British economy is stagnant, our workforce underskilled, our productivity flatlining, and in response to this self-diagnosed problem, the prescription is to reduce the pool of available skilled workers. It's not merely incoherent, it is ruinous, it's reckless. And then there's the ageing population, the unspeakable demographic truth that we will soon have more retirees than working age adults paying taxes. Without migrants to earn, to work, to pay into the national coffers, the state pension becomes an exercise in generational self-delusion. It's not migration we can't afford, it's the lack of it. And what of the care sector itself? Ministers point to the 40,000 displaced workers, as if they are boxes in a warehouse to be reallocated by whim. These workers have names, lives, visas, families. They came on a promise, a government-issued one, and now they're being told they're surplus to requirements. There's a moral dimension too. Making migrants feel unwelcome, giving the impression that they are tolerated but not wanted, corrodes not only our public life, but our national identity. We have long prided ourselves on being a global nation, from Windrush to Hong Kong, from Europe to the Commonwealth, and now we've become something meaner, pettier, and infinitely more foolish, simply because we're responding to the rhetoric of reform. This isn't a serious plan. even if Generic likes it. It's not a serious plan. It's a symbolic offering to an electorate fed on years of tabloid paranoia and political cowardice. It's Reform UK dressed in pinstripe with Generic as its ghostwriter and Farage as its muse. We need migrants not because we are charitable, but because we are ageing, we are indebted, we are under-resourced, and we're in denial. And the alternative to immigration is not some utopia of re-skilled, re-energized domestic labour. It's economic stagnation, declining public services, and a smaller tax base. And the job of government is not to echo the slogans of discontent from some mad, wanna-do political party with only 5 members, but to educate no more members than I've got on my hand, but to educate the public. No more digits, no more members than I've got digits on my hand, but to educate the public in reality. And the reality is simple. We need migrants. We need them to pay for our NHS. We need them to pay for our pensions, for our care homes, for our schools. We need them to build, to staff, to serve, to innovate. And to pretend otherwise is not leadership. It's cowardice and it's stupidity in high office.